Welcome back, fellow time travelers, to another episode of Timeless Sagas. Today, we're going to embark on a melodious journey through the enthralling history of opera. So, grab your opera glasses, warm up those vocal cords, and prepare to be transported to a world of grandeur, passion, and tragedy. Ladies and gentlemen, let's delve into the fascinating story of opera. Our tale begins in the late 16th century, in the heart of the Italian Renaissance. The creative minds of the age were not only interested in visual arts, but also in reviving the ancient Greek tradition of combining music, poetry, and drama. A group of innovative artists and musicians, known as the Florentine Camerata, sought to create a new form of musical expression, merging these various artistic elements. And so, in their quest to reimagine the Greek dramas, opera was born. The first known opera was Jacopo Piri's Daphne, composed in 1597. Sadly, only fragments of this pioneering work have survived, leaving us with just a taste of the beginning of this grand art form. However, fear not, dear friends. For just a few years later, Claudio Monteverdi gifted us with his groundbreaking work, L'Orfeo, in 1607. Monteverdi's masterpiece, with its rich storytelling and emotional depth, would set the stage for the operatic tradition that we know and love today. As opera gained popularity, it began to spread across Europe like a catchy tune. By the mid-17th century, the genre had reached the shores of France, where it underwent a transformation under the reign of the Sun King, Louis XIV. French composers, such as Jean-Baptiste Lully, adapted the Italian style to create a uniquely French operatic tradition. Lully's Armide and Atis are shining examples of the French Baroque opera, characterized by elaborate dance sequences, ornate costumes, and a healthy dose of royal propaganda. Now, let's take a detour to 18th century England, where opera seria, a more serious and formal type of opera, was all the rage. Handel, the German composer who had made England his home, became the leading proponent of this style. With operas such as Giulio Cesare and Rodelinda, Handel's music captivated audiences, setting new standards for vocal virtuosity. But, as we know, the British have always had a flair for humor, and so, in response to the seriousness of opera seria, the comical ballad opera was born. John Gay's The Beggar's Opera, a satirical and biting critique of both the genre and society at large, became a smash hit and would later inspire the likes of Bertolt Brecht and Kurt Weill in their creation of the Threepenny Opera. Meanwhile, back on the continent, the Age of Enlightenment was dawning, and with it came a shift in operatic themes. Gone were the days of gods and heroes. Now, operas focused on the lives of ordinary people and their struggles. Christoph Willibald Gluck's Orfeo ed Eurydice and Alceste were groundbreaking works that highlighted this new emphasis on simplicity and emotional expression, paving the way for the later Romantic movement. As we venture into the 19th century, opera continued to evolve and diversify. The bel canto style emerged in Italy, with composers such as Rossini, Bellini, and Donizetti championing the beauty and agility of the human voice. Operas like The Barber of Seville, Norma, and Lucia di Lammermoor showcase the breathtaking power of the soprano and tenor, with their thrilling high notes and death-defying coloratura. And now, dear friends, we come to one of the most famous names in opera history, Giuseppe Verdi. This titan of Italian opera composed a staggering 28 operas, many of which remain popular favorites to this day. Verdi's works, such as La Traviata, Rigoletto, and Aida, were known for their powerful melodies, dramatic storylines, and innovative orchestration. In many ways, Verdi's operas were a reflection of the turbulent times in which he lived, as Italy sought to establish its national identity and unify under a single banner. Venturing north to Germany, we find another monumental figure in the world of opera, Richard Wagner. Wagner was a true revolutionary, redefining the very nature of opera with his concept of the Gesamtkunstwerk, or total work of art. For Wagner, opera was more than just music, it was a synthesis of poetry, drama, visual arts, and music, all working together to create a unified whole. His epic four-opera cycle, The Ring of the Nibelung, is perhaps the ultimate realization of this vision, with its complex characters, intricate leitmotifs, and groundbreaking orchestration. But it wasn't all serious business in the 19th century opera world. Over in France, Jacques Offenbach was busy poking fun at the establishment with his satirical operettas. Orpheus in the Underworld and La Belle Hélène parodied the traditional myths and operatic conventions, providing audiences with a light-hearted escape from an increasingly industrialized world. As the 20th century dawned, opera continued to push boundaries and explore new musical territories. Composers like Richard Strauss, with his provocative Salome and Electra, and Igor Stravinsky, with his groundbreaking The Rite of Spring, challenged audiences and expanded the definition of what opera could be. Meanwhile, Giacomo Puccini brought the art form into the modern age with his Verismo style, highlighting the gritty realities of life in works such as La Bohème, Tosca, and Madama Butterfly. In the years that followed, opera continued to evolve, with composers such as Benjamin Britten, Philip Glass, and John Adams contributing to its rich tapestry. Today, opera remains a vibrant and vital art form, with new works being composed and performed around the world. And so, dear friends, we come to the end of our melodious journey through the ages. From its humble beginnings in Renaissance Italy to the grand stages of the modern world, opera has captivated and inspired us for centuries. Through the power of music, these timeless sagas have touched our hearts, stirred our souls, and allowed us to glimpse the very essence of what it means to be human. Thank you for joining me on this epic adventure, and until next time, keep exploring the fascinating annals of history.